Have you ever been watching a movie and just thought, who is this even for? Well, there's a fascinating theory floating around online that says you're not imagining it. The idea is that Hollywood is facing more than just a bad year. It might be on the edge of a total collapse, all because of a huge cultural disconnect with its audience. We're going to dive into the arguments and the data behind this whole idea.
So here's our roadmap for breaking this down. First up, we'll look at the data behind this great divide. Then we'll get into the whole concept of the Hollywood bubble. After that, we'll see how this is all hitting the industry's wallet. We'll also explore where all the creative energy is going instead. And finally, we'll tackle the big one. Are we looking at a future with two completely separate entertainment industries?
All right, let's start at the beginning. This whole theory isn't just based on feelings or a few bad movies. Proponents point to some really stark data that suggests a massive cultural shift is happening in America. And it starts with something really fundamental, like how people feel about the country itself.
Okay, just look at this for a second. 92% on one side and 36% on the other. That is a massive gap. But what's really wild is that just a generation ago, these numbers were practically on top of each other. According to this theory, this isn't just a political squabble. It's the opening of a giant cultural canyon between two different Americas.
And it doesn't stop there. Look at trust in mass media. For one group, it's over half. For the other, it's in the single digits, only 8%. Now think about it. How can a national entertainment industry, which is, a part of the mass media, even function when a massive chunk of the country fundamentally doesn't trust it to begin with? This right here is the central problem the theory points to.
So if that divide is real, the next logical question is, why is it happening? Well, the theory has a pretty simple diagnosis, and it's a phrase you've probably heard a million times: the Hollywood bubble.
This quote just lays it all out there, doesn't it? It's not just that New York and LA are a little different. The argument is that they are totally divorced from the reality of a place like Oklahoma City. We're talking about a complete disconnect in values, in daily life, in what people care about. It's an ideological island.
And that's really the core of the bubble theory. It argues that creators are living in this insulated world, so naturally they make stuff that reflects their world and their values. The problem is that world can feel totally alien to millions of people. Theory doesn't even say it's on purpose. It's just what happens when you're disconnected. You create for your tribe, and you end up pushing everyone else away.
A cultural gap is one thing, but when it starts to impact the money, well, that's when the alarm bells really start going off. And that's where we're going next. The very real, tangible, financial pain that's pushing the industry to a breaking point.
Yeah, it's not just about ideas, it's about dollars and cents. Right now, Los Angeles is becoming an incredibly expensive and difficult place to actually make anything. You've got insane costs, really strict rules, high taxes, but at the same time, all these other places are rolling out the red carpet, offering lower costs and big incentives. So LA is basically becoming, as the source material says, inhospitable to the very business that made it famous.
And this is really happening. It's a full-on exodus. In the US, productions are pouring into places like Georgia, Tennessee, and Texas. And internationally, it's going everywhere from South Africa to Eastern Europe. Look, at the end of the day, the cameras are just following the money.
And if you need one single number to hammer home just how big this shift is, here it is, 50%. A reported 50% drop in new film and TV projects starting up in the classic Hollywood zone. Just let that sink in for a second. Half the new work is just gone. That's not a dip, that's an earthquake.
But here's the interesting part. As the old system starts to crumble, something new is starting to grow in its place. This theory isn't just about things falling apart, it's also about new things being built. So, what does that new landscape actually look like?
So how do you build a brand new media hub from scratch? The theory basically lays out a four-step recipe. First, you need an existing pool of creative people. Then, you need a ton of investment in studios and tech. Of course, you throw in some juicy tax breaks. But here's the secret ingredient. You need a unique cultural identity that feels different from what LA is offering.
And you can already see this happening. Nashville's quickly becoming the capital for faith-based and family-friendly content, a gigantic market that legacy Hollywood has, frankly, ignored for years. And then you've got Austin, Texas, which has turned into this hub for independent comedy and new media, built around personalities who want nothing to do with the old studio system.
So all of this, the cultural divide, the money moving, the new hubs popping up, it all leads to the biggest question of all. Where is this train headed?
What does the future of entertainment actually look like? Are we still one big audience, or are we splitting into two?
This quote just nails the problem perfectly. That four-quadrant movie, the Holy Grail that's supposed to appeal to everyone, young, old, male, female. It feels like an endangered species. Seriously, if your audience is living in two totally different realities, how can one movie possibly speak to both of them at the same time?
And that brings us to the theory's really radical conclusion. Maybe the future isn't a new, single Hollywood. Maybe it's two Hollywoods. Two parallel entertainment industries running side by side, each one making content for its own distinct America, with its own distinct values.
Which leaves us with this one final, really important question. Is this split a done deal? Is entertainment's job just to act like a mirror, reflecting how divided we are? Or can it still be the thing that brings us all together? It's a huge question, and whatever the answer is, it's going to shape our culture for a long, long time.